All right, let's talk about ancient warfare. But I want you to forget everything you think you know from the movies. We're about to dive into a side of ancient Indian warfare that was less about chaotic brawls and way, way more about a brilliant, calculated science.
I mean, when you picture an ancient battle, what do you see? Probably just a massive, chaotic clash of swords, right? A total free-for-all where the strongest, most brutal side just wins. Well, that's the Hollywood version. Today, we're going to see how the reality was so much more sophisticated.
Because in ancient India, warfare wasn't just fighting. It was an art form. It was a science built on these incredible layers of strategy, discipline, psychology, and, get this, even a deep ethical code. It wasn't just about winning the fight. It was all about how you won it.
So, how did they pull this off? Well, it all starts with the fundamentals. I mean, before you can have some grand strategy, you need an army. And these ancient Indian armies were absolute marvels of organization.
And the core concept behind it all was called chaturanga, that literally means 4 limbs or 4 parts. See, this wasn't some random mob of fighters they just threw onto a field. This was a highly structured, professional force where every single piece had a specific and absolutely vital role to play.
And here are those 4 limbs in action. You've got the infantry, your rock-solid foot soldiers. Then there's the cavalry, all about speed and flanking your enemy. You had chariots, which were basically mobile command centers for the top warriors. And then, the gaja, or war elephants. These were the living, breathing tanks of the ancient world, pure shock and awe. This 4-part structure was so strategically perfect that it actually became the foundation for the game we all know today as chess. Okay, so you've got this perfectly organized army. Great, but that's useless if you don't know how to use it, right? And this is where the real art of engagement comes in, combining some seriously advanced weapons with just genius-level strategy. And the weapons themselves, they were totally state-of-the-art for their time. We're talking high-quality bows and swords forged from the world-famous Wootz steel. This stuff was legendary. A metal so strong and flexible, they said a blade made from it could slice a silk scarf in half as it fell through the air. But here's the crucial part. These deadly tools were always guided by incredible skill and discipline, not just blind rage. But as deadly as that steel was, the real weapon, the most powerful one on the field, was the general's mind. And their primary tool, these incredibly complex and brilliant battlefield formations called vyuhas. Just take the legendary Chakravyuha, for example. This was no simple line of soldiers. Oh no, this was a multi-layered, rotating spiral of death. It was an offensive formation designed to trick an enemy hero, lure them deep inside, trap them, and then just systematically wipe them out. It was literally a puzzle box that fought back.
Or, on the flip side, you had its defensive counterpart, the Padma Vyuha, or the lotus formation. Just try to picture this. An intricate, layered defense where each petal of soldiers protects and reinforces the others. It created this almost unbreakable shield around a key person or place. It's absolutely brilliant when you think about it.
So you can see why just throwing more soldiers at these formations was a terrible idea. Brute force was a recipe for total disaster. To break a vyuha, you had to outthink it. Victory here belonged to the smartest commander on the field, not just the strongest. Now let's zoom out. Let's pull way back from the immediate battlefield. Because for the greatest ancient Indian strategists, the war was often won or lost long before the first arrow ever flew. This is about the grand strategy. Victory often started right here, in the mind. I want you to imagine your soldier on the other side. The ground starts to tremble. You hear this deafening roar of war drums and these massive battle horns. And then, through the dust, you see them. Dozens of war elephants, towering over you like moving mountains, ready to just shatter your lines. The whole point was to break your spirit before the first blow was even struck. And this idea is just perfectly captured in this quote from the Arthashastra. This was a groundbreaking book on statecraft, written by a guy named Kautilya. You can think of him as kind of the Machiavelli or Sun Tzu of ancient India, a true master strategist who knew that real power was about a whole lot more than just armies. And just look at what the Arthashastra covers. This isn't just a book about battles. It's a masterclass in running a state that feels incredibly modern. We're talking espionage and spies, economic warfare, using diplomacy as a weapon, guerrilla tactics, and maybe most importantly, having the wisdom to know when it's better not to fight at all. I mean, these are principles still taught in military academies all over the world today. Okay,
Now for the final and maybe the most profound piece of this entire system. Because in the middle of all this brilliant strategy and all these deadly weapons, there was something else. Something you might not expect to find in a manual for war, a strict ethical code.
And this was known as Dharma Yuddha, which basically translates to a righteous war. The whole idea was that even in conflict, especially in conflict, there had to be rules. There was a moral framework that was meant to keep war from just becoming pure chaotic destruction.
And the rules were pretty amazing when you think about it. You don't attack an unarmed soldier or one who's surrendering. All fighting stops between sunset and sunrise. Civilians and their homes were to be protected, and war was always the last resort. This wasn't just a rule book. It was a powerful statement that even in the middle of a war, things like humanity and honor still mattered.
So when you put it all together, the organized army, the advanced tactics, the grand strategy, and that ethical code, you see something truly incredible emerge. The ancient Indian art of war wasn't just about destruction. It was this complete, holistic system built on strategy, balance, discipline, and a deep, profound wisdom. And all of this leaves us with one final, big question to think about. In a system that so carefully balances military power with moral conduct and tactical brilliance with strategic restraint, what is the true meaning of victory? Is it really just about defeating your enemy? Or could it